Hey guys. Okay, so this is our third monster lesson, and if you have not already gone through two lessons on monster, then you really need to make sure that you get through those before you watch this. Now, the last thing we heard is that Steve was going to write everything that happened into his movie, which we already knew from earlier. Then his lawyer says, whatever, just pay attention. Okay? All right. So now this page, and I'm going to show the entire page together, I think. Let's see. All right. You can see the entire page here. And what it is showing is kind of like what you would expect to see for credits on a movie. So try and imagine, because sometimes movies will tell you who the characters are at the beginning, or, maybe he expects this to go at the end of the movie. I'm not sure, but this looks like credits basically. And what it is saying is there are these different people who are playing roles, and apparently it's these people plus starring 16-year-old Steve Harmon, the boy on trial for murder. So here's the cast. Okay, other than Steve, here's the cast. First, we have Richard Bobo Evans. He's the rat. We have Laurel Henry, the witness. James King, the thug. Osvaldo Cruz, a tough guy wannabe. Jose Delgado, he found the body. Sandra Petroselli, the dedicated prosecutor, which is, we already know, a prosecutor is the lawyer who is trying to put the defendant in jail. And then Kathy O'Brien, the defense attorney with doubts. He thinks she has doubts about his innocence, which I think makes sense based on what happened earlier when she said, hey, it probably depends on what you mean by win. All right. So this is really important, guys. He is giving you a list of probably the most important characters in the quote movie that he's writing. Okay. And when you get something like this, when you realize that there are so many characters, you need to do something to make sure you're keeping track of it. So I'm going to prepare my notebook before I go any further. All right, so what I'm going to do is I am going to list the characters, and then I am also going to leave space on the page for us to be able to sort of identify and add information about the characters later. So I'm going to use several pages right now. So to start, I'm going to start with Steve Harmon. All right, so I got my title up here, and this is about Steve Harmon. So first I'm going to add bullets, and I'm just going to say he is 16-year-old boy on trial for murder. That's what we already know about him right now. Okay, so on the next page, after my Steve Harmon page, I think that the characters are a little bit less important. They're not going to get their own page just for them. I'm not going to have enough to fill up. So I'm going to add a spot for each one of the other characters and just like kind of spread it over a couple pages. Okay, so I made my Steve page and I basically just left it blank because I'm just going to do one character for a whole page. But for my other characters, like Sandra Petroselli, as I said, I don't think we're going to have that much to say. So what I just did is I put her name and I put what we know about her right now. The prosecuting attorney, and that she called Steve a monster in court. Kathy O'Brien is the defense attorney. Steve thinks like he has his doubts, that she has doubts about him. James King, the other person on trial for murder. Steve calls him a thug. All right, Jose Delgado is a witness who found the dead body. Osvaldo Cruz, a witness. Apparently, Steve calls him a tough guy wannabe. I guess he's not actually very tough, he just pretends. Monster characters, all right, Loretta Henry, who is a witness. I don't know what she witnessed. That's all he said about her. And then Richard Bobo Evans. He's also a witness, and it looks like Steve called him a rat. And when people call others rats, they're normally saying like they kind of snitched, you know? All right, so as I'm reading, if I think of things about these characters, like if probably character traits is what I'm going to write in here, then I'll write it. Like some of them are witnesses, so I might take a couple notes on what evidence they gave, you know? For Steve Harmon, I'm going to do character traits for sure on this page. And I might also do like a section of trying to decide if he's guilty or innocent. Like I might do evidence against him and evidence for him, but I haven't really decided. We don't have to make all of our decisions now. We just need to prep our notebook so that it's ready for when we want to add things that are important as we're reading, okay? This is something I actually do all the time, guys. I don't read and then think, man, what am I going to jot about? I make a plan from the beginning, and then I look for what I want to jot about as I read. So I already have my plan of what I'm going to be writing down before I even start. Okay, so all right, back to the book. Okay, got our characters. Let's go. Okay. I hope this case lasts 2 weeks. I can sure use the money. I guess she's a court reporter. 6 days, maybe 7. It's a motion case. They go through the motions and they'll lock them up. How you doing? I'm scared. Is everybody ready? All right. I'm ruling the Cruz kid's testimony is admissible. You can bring up your motions relative to the ruling this afternoon or if there is a break. Bring in the jury. So basically, they were trying to make it so that Osvaldo Cruz could not testify. And the judge was all like, nah, he's going to get to testify. That's all that means. So here comes the jury. And then it kind of changes. Look, this isn't a jury. This isn't a courtroom anymore. Now, remember, he's writing a movie of this experience. Yeah? So you kind of need to think, try to imagine this as though it were a movie. First, it's in the court, and then it fades to this other scene, which I'm not sure what this is yet. Let's keep looking. In a juried competition, the ending would have hurt this piece, but otherwise it was interesting. Any comments? And then I think that might be Steve raising his hand. So I feel like this might be a classroom. Go ahead, Steve. I liked the ending. I didn't say it was bad, but wasn't it predictable? You need to predict without predicting. You know what I mean? When you make a good film, you leave an impression on the viewer who serve as a kind of, I don't know, jury for your film. If you make your film predictable, they'll make up their minds about it long before it's over. Now, let's get back to your film, Steve. And we're back at court. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Sandra Petroselli, Assistant District Attorney for the State of New York, and my job is to represent the people in this matter. You were informed during jury selection that this is a case of felony murder. A citizen of our city, a citizen of our state and country has been killed. And then look, it's like we're at a grocery. It says Nesbitt's Grocery. So I think we're about to like get in between. Remember, it's a movie. So we're seeing the courtroom and then we're seeing flashes of what else, of whatever else. A citizen of our city, a citizen of our state and country has been killed. Killed by people who attempted to rob him. Please! In this trial I will do my best to bring you the facts of the case, and I know you will do your best to judge the merits of this case. Most people in our community are decent, hardworking citizens who pursue their own interests legally and without infringing on the rights of others. But there are also monsters in our community, people who are willing to steal and kill, people who disregard the rights of others. And then, I guess this is Steve and this is King. Both of these young men are on trial together. On the 22nd of December last year, at approximately 4 p.m., two men entered a drugstore on 145th Street in Harlem. One of those men was Richard Bobo Evans, and the other was James King. The purpose of the two men entering the store on that Monday was very simple. They were going to rob the owner, 55-year-old Algundalo Nesbitt. There was a struggle, which resulted in the gun being discharged and Mr. Nesbitt being killed. Mr. Nesbitt had every right to defend his property, every right not to be robbed. We all have that right. There is evidence that prior to the robbery, there was a plan or conspiracy to rob the store. While Mr. Evans and Mr. King were to enter the store and do the actual robbery, another of the planners of this crime was to stand outside the drugstore and impede anyone chasing the robbers. This conspirator was to go into the store prior to the robbery and check it out to make sure there were no police in the store, to make sure that the coast was clear. Hey, you have to believe in yourself if you're going to convince a jury that you're innocent. Innocent. I guess this is what's in his mind, what he's imagining. The gunshot wound was fatal. This was no suicide. The death was a direct result of the robbery. This is a case of murder. Okay, this is where we're going to stop for today. I think this is a good place because we have just heard the opening statement from the prosecution, the prosecutor, okay? And they kind of described the crime. So what I want you to do is just answer the question here on this video, and then you need to go to your notebook and you need to prepare to take information down about the characters, okay? Just like I showed you in my notebook. If you need to, you can copy what I wrote. I don't mind, but I do want you to have your notebook prepared. That is your assignment for today, okay? That's it. Thank you.